I watched my 7-year-old daughter sit at this table, tears streaming down her face, struggling with her science project. I could have helped. I knew exactly how to make that volcano look better. I could have fixed the poster. I could have typed up her notes. I didn't. And what happened at that science fair? That's the part that changed everything I thought I knew about helping my kids succeed. Today, I'm going to tell you why letting your child fail might be the most important thing you ever do for them, and the exact framework I use to know when to step in and when to step back. But first, I need to tell you what really happened at that science fair, because it wasn't what I expected. Let me paint you a picture. It's 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. Your kid has a project due tomorrow. They're frustrated. They're tired, and honestly, their work looks rough. So you do what any loving parent would do. You help. You fix the spelling, straighten the glue, maybe rewrite a sentence or two, or 10. And suddenly, your third grader's project looks like it was made by, well, by you. Sound familiar? We've all seen those projects at school. The diorama that belongs in a museum, the poster that looks professionally printed, the volcano that actually erupts on cue with perfect timing. And we all know the truth. A 7-year-old didn't make that. Here's what most parents do wrong. We confuse helping our children with doing things for them. We confuse protecting them from discomfort with preparing them for life. And the result? We're raising a generation of kids who have never experienced failure, which means they've never learned how to recover from it. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just an opinion. The science on this is devastating. Anxiety rates in children have tripled since 1985. Tripled. And researchers wanted to know why. What changed? Kids today have more resources, more technology, more access to education than any generation in history. What they found might surprise you. It's us. It's the parents. A landmark study from the University of Mary Washington found that children of over-involved parents reported significantly higher levels of depression and anxiety, not because their parents were mean, but because their parents were too nice. Here's the thing. When we solve every problem for our kids, we send them a very clear message. I don't think you can handle this. And kids believe us. What I discovered next changed everything for me. There's a concept in psychology called stress inoculation. It's the same principle behind vaccines. Small doses of a threat build immunity to larger doses. Failure works the same way. When kids experience small, manageable failures and survive them, their brains literally rewire. They build what researchers call psychological resilience. But here's the problem. If we protect them from every small failure, the first big failure hits like a truck, and they have zero tools to cope. This is why we're seeing record numbers of college students unable to handle basic life challenges, why young adults are moving back home at unprecedented rates, why mental health crises are skyrocketing in teens. We bubble-wrapped their childhoods, and now they're popping. Now, before I share my framework, let me tell you what happened with my daughter's science project, because this is the part that convinced me I was on the right track. So there we are at the science fair. My daughter, Emma, is standing next to her project. It's humble. The letters are a little crooked. There's a visible glue smudge. The volcano is lumpy. And next to her, projects that look like they came from a professional design studio. I'm not exaggerating. One had LED lights and a QR code. I felt that parent guilt creeping in. Did I fail her? Should I have helped more? Then the judges came around. They asked each kid to explain their project. And here's what happened. The kids with the beautiful parent-made projects, they fumbled. They couldn't explain the science. One kid literally looked at his mom for help answering questions. But Emma, she lit up. She explained her hypothesis. She talked about what went wrong because things did go wrong, and she knew why. She showed them her data and what she learned. She got second place. Not because her project was the best looking, but because she was one of the only kids who actually did her own project. And you know what she said to me afterward? Dad, I did that. Me. That confidence, that ownership, no amount of helping could have given her that. But here's where it gets interesting. Letting your kid fail doesn't mean abandoning them. There's a framework for this, and it makes all the difference. I call this the guided failure framework. 3 steps that help you know exactly when to step back and how to support without taking over. Step 1. Identify the stakes. Not all failures are created equal. Before you decide whether to step in, ask yourself one question. What's the worst that can realistically happen? Here's exactly how I think about it. Low stakes, a messy art project, a lost board game, forgetting their lunch once. Medium stakes, a bad grade on one assignment, losing a sports game, a friendship conflict. High stakes, physical safety, situations involving other children's well-being, mental health crises. Low and medium stakes, that's where growth happens. Let them fail. High stakes, that's when you step in, not to fix it, but to keep them safe. The science project? Low stakes. A crooked poster never hurt anyone. But here's where step 2 changes everything. Step 2. Support the process, not the outcome. This is the hardest part for parents. We're so focused on results, the grade, the trophy, the final product, that we forget the process is the whole point. Here's exactly what to say when your kid is struggling. Instead of, "Here, let me fix that," say, "What have you tried so far?" Instead of, "That's not right, do it this way," say, "What do you think would happen if you tried it differently?" Instead of, "You're going to fail if you don't let me help," say, "What's your plan if this doesn't work out?" Notice what these phrases have in common. They keep the responsibility with the child. You're a coach on the sidelines, not a player on the field. With Emma's project, I asked questions. I helped her brainstorm, but my hands never touched that poster board. And yeah, it was hard to watch her struggle with the glue, but that struggle, that was learning happening in real time. Now, step 3 is where most parents fail, even when they get the first 2 right. Step 3. Debrief the failure. When failure happens, and it will, resist the urge to minimize it, fix it, or immediately move on. This is the magic moment. This is where resilience is actually built. Here's the script I use with my kids. 1. How are you feeling about what happened? Let them name the emotion. Don't correct it, just acknowledge it. 2. What do you think went wrong? Let them analyze without blame. 3. What would you do differently next time? This is where the learning locks in. 4. What did you learn about yourself? This reframes failure as data, not disaster. When Emma's volcano didn't erupt the first 3 times she tested it, we sat down and went through these questions. By the time she figured out the baking soda ratio, she understood her project better than any parent-made volcano ever could. What I discovered next changed everything. Kids who go through this debrief process don't just recover from failure faster, They actually start seeking out challenges because failure stops being scary. It becomes information. Let me be direct about what happens if you don't make this shift. Kids who never experience failure at 7 experience their first real failure at 17 or 27, and by then, the stakes are exponentially higher. A bad grade in 2nd grade teaches resilience. A failed semester in college can derail a future. I've seen it happen. Kids who were protected from every disappointment, becoming adults who crumble at the first rejection letter, the first failed relationship, the first job that doesn't work out. We think we're helping them by smoothing every path, but we're actually stealing their chance to develop the one skill that matters most: the ability to fall down and get back up. Let's recap. 1. Identify the stakes. Low and medium stakes are growth opportunities. Step back. 2. Support the process, not the outcome. Ask questions instead of giving answers. Coach, don't play. 3. Debrief the failure. Use the 4 questions to turn every failure into a lesson. Here's your homework. And yes, I'm giving parents homework. This week, find one low-stakes situation where you would normally step in and don't. Let your kids struggle. Let them figure it out. Then use the debrief questions. And I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me, what did you let your kid fail at? What happened? I read every single comment, and your stories help other parents more than you know. And hey, if you've been the parent doing the projects, typing the essays, solving the problems, no judgment here. We do it because we love them. We do it because watching them struggle hurts us. But love also means preparing them for a world we won't always be there to fix. And sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is watch them fall, and then watch them get back up. Emma's volcano didn't work the first 3 times, but that 4th time, when it finally erupted, I've never seen her so proud. Not because it was perfect, because it was hers. Now, if you want to take this further, I made a video about the exact phrases that build resilience in kids. The things to say when they're frustrated, when they're quitting, when they're comparing themselves to others. It's right here. And if this changed how you think about parenting, hit that subscribe button. We're building something different on this channel. Parenting advice that actually works in real life. I'll see you in the next one.